Hey guys, you see here, it is Saturday, January 29th, uh, evening. So just want to go through some charts and analyze some of the price action. So let us get started. So what you're looking at is a weekly chart of QQQ, right? What is going on? Let's take a look at the bigger picture first, always. That's how we drill down. Okay, so here is where the down uh, trend sort of took, some speed in a way that it broke this uptrend line. We got this nice bearish trend bar and an attempt to bounce, actually a nice bounce, right? So again, it is only a bounce so far. There is no confirmation that this is a reversal or on all that stuff, right? People start getting too excited, but nonetheless, nice looking bullish weekly bar, right? But still in a downtrend. Why do I say that? Because it's still a lower low and a lower high, right? Lower low and a lower high since the past what 4 or 5 weeks now, right? All this downtrend, and it's just bounced from 334, which is a support level from right here. So from that perspective, still in a downtrend and a heavy downtrend, right? We haven't seen that kind of selling in a while, right? Every time we were selling off, it would bounce back up and it was holding this uptrend line. But now we just kind of broke down and it made this couple of bear flag type patterns, right? Which is right here, right? And the other one was just this previous week, right? With this right here. Now let's analyze the daily price action, or like what's going on. So Monday, we saw this big move down and then the buyer stepped in, took the price up all the way with a nice looking hammer bar, right? Monday. And then basically all throughout the rest of the week after that, we were just sort of sideways, right? Uh, Nothing really too exciting. Yes, exciting in the sense that it was giving us a lot of range to trade, right? Those are big bars, but it was directionless, right? This was sort of the reaction high from Monday, and this was the low. So we were in a range, right? And it can still go back up towards 356, 357. That's where sort of the highs of the this bear flag can come into play, right? With this middle bar high right here as a resistance. We'll see what happens, but that's sort of the pattern right now, right? Look what happened previously when we saw this nice bounce, got back up, couldn't really do it, and then broke down. Now, again, we got here, made some sort of inside days, and then on Friday we saw this. I would not call it, uh, fresh buyers or anything. I would just call it a short covering rally, right? Where all these shorts, they don't want to hold this short over the weekend, so you just kind of cover, and that's you see the rally, right? That's what it was. It was towards the end of the day. But with all this rally, all the Apple earnings, all that good stuff, we couldn't really break the Friday high that we sort of saw, and then the middle of the week, right? So we're still below that. That can be a resistance. And we can still do something like where the price coming down like this, make a little high or whatever, and then eventually breaks down again, right? That's a bearish scenario. So for that, we will pay close attention to this trend line right here and see if it fails and tries to, fall back down, or if it breaks through this resistance right here and then forms a higher low, and then we can start establishing some targets on the upside, right? But for now, sideways, neutral, and still sort of in the bearish zone, right? So we'll keep that in our mind. Let's look at Amazon. Always start with the weekly time frame. Again, below this trend line, right, that a lot of us were watching. We got this sort of a doji weekly bar right here, giving hopes to a lot of people that this is where it's going to bounce from. In fact, we saw the old opposite and it just broke down, right? So now, from the weekly perspective, it did come back above its previous week's low. So that's a good sign. But again, from price action perspective, a lower high and a lower low. And in the daily time frame, I think the earnings are coming up, so that'll be interesting. It's still in that bear flag zone, couldn't break Monday's high, something of like that. Still sort of an inside days, just nice range, but not really going anywhere. So if we drill down to, let's say, 30 minutes, that's where we can sort of, get some clues as to what the price did on Friday. The short covering rally took it above this intraday downtrend line. Now let's see how Monday opens, but this can be the level to see around 2,900 or so, and see if it wants to go up, kind of go kiss this channel uptrend line, or if it just wants to kind of roll over and break this bear flag to the downside. Okay, so those are the scenarios that we can look for to play next week. Apple earnings, nice bounce. I'm not really a big Apple trader. I just like to get some market clues from it. But if you are, 171.1 is the resistance, above which we have maybe like 174 and then 177 all the way, right? But if it rolls over with the rest of the market and we don't see any upside follow through to this bullish day, that means it's trying to make a lower high. So I personally take market clues from this name, but not really otherwise traded. But Google's earnings coming up soon as well. Let's look at a weekly chart first. Sorry. Okay, broke the uptrend line, making this huge weekly bars. Bullish bars don't see any upside follow through, right? We have this bar right here, no upside follow through. Let's see if this one gives us any upside follow through or not. But we are still in a downtrend with lower highs and lower lows. Let's get into a daily time frame for this one. Similar, a little sharp to be called a bear flag, but nonetheless same kind of shape, but better than, I would say, Amazon, right? Because Amazon is still in this Monday range, whereas Google has shown some relative strength and has gotten above that, right? And it's sitting right here, 2667 level. If it wants to move up, I would look for this downtrend line to come into play, and probably like to at least short here for at least a first touch rejection or something like that. But above that, we have this 2759, right? On the downside, we have this Friday's low as sort of the first support level that everybody could be long against, trying to play the upside. But if it breaks down, they can just throw in the towel and, this thing can go down. Tesla, everyone's favorite. Let's look at that weekly chart. Nice in a way that it bounced from the, channel support right here around 790, 785. I wanted to catch it below 785. Couldn't really do that, but I'm glad we caught the move to the downside, right? So that was nice. Let's get into daily. In weekly, it's still lower lows and lower highs, right? In the daily time frame, we are in this channel. So this was the Thursday drop that we saw, a big Thursday drop, and then eventually a Friday we saw a drop, but the day ended up looking like a hammer bar that managed to close above this long-term uptrend line, right? Now, this was a hammer too, right? So, but after that, we did not really see a follow through that held, right? So we'll see what happens Monday or Tuesday, right? But from chart perspective and a daily time perspective, right? Lower lows, lower highs. This bar couldn't even get towards the 50% mark of this previous bearish bar. So the sentiment remains still weak, right? And if you just kind of analyze this price structure right here, you see more red bars, like, and those red bars are pretty serious sellings, right? Trend bars, which means the day started here and closed that day here. Started here, closed here. Started here, closed here. Started here, closed here. And any bullish bars we see, they don't really change the direction, right? So still in the downtrend. Yes, you can catch some nice bounce to the upside, but it's not really a reversal for right now. Okay, you have to see a series of higher highs, higher lows, price getting out of this down channel to start feeling, yes, okay, the trend has changed, and now we can see some bullish plays, right? But right now, my preference would be to short this thing on the upside or on strength, look for rejection kind of plays. But yes, on the call side, I can see if market is bouncing, it's holding, things of that nature. But right now, my preference is just to look for a rejection level and look for a shorting this name, right? So it can be a good short if it bounces to 935 because of the down trend line, something like that. So that's the preference. Boeing. Let's get into weekly. It is in this nice looking weekly down channel, right? Lower lows, higher lows, and sorry, lower highs. That's what I meant. But it's just bouncing a little bit from this 185 level, but not too excited, right? When we have other names that we can trade. But if it goes here towards 172 level, that's a channel bottom right here, and I can see a little bounce here. So I'm open to playing some bounces here, or even if it goes for a gap fill right here, right around 160, can be a nice bounce like this, or something like that on the upside, unless or until it gets above this down channel. I think sellers have more control. Okay, Nvidia. Still just looking bearish with the rest of the market. Let's look at the daily time frame, right? It's not really how the bullish chart looks like. It is still weak. We saw a little bit of bounce that closed slightly towards the midpoint of the previous bearish bar. We got double top right here. So watch for this trend line break. You can be a sort of a bear flaggish kind of a thing towards the downside. We have earnings coming up, so that can keep it a little bit elevated or not. Time will tell, but unless or until we are back above, I would say, I don't know, 250 or something. That's like a psychological level. I'm not feeling bullish at all. In fact, if it goes up and you don't catch the move, you could look to try to short it at the back test of this uptrend line, right? Which is like if I zoom out a little bit, or if we show you, let's say, a weekly chart, that's the back test of this trend line that we can short it against. Okay. Which one is left? Okay, Microsoft. Again, probably this one is a little bit better. And in fact, if I look at, let's go a daily chart, it is back testing that trend line that it broke down from, right? And it looks like a little head and shoulder kind of a thing as well. Let's look at a 4 hourly, right? So if I were to draw a shoulder or a head and shoulder type price pattern, this being the left, this is the head, and this one being the right shoulder, with this little area over here as the what do you call it, neckline, right, with 313.9, unless or until we get a nice move above 314, I would say. Let's round it off. It's just sort of a resistance level. So I can actually try to short this thing if it goes towards 314 for at least the first touch short kind of play, right? Because but if it just rolls over after back testing this trend line, that means that it's getting rejected, and it's the chart is still sort of sideways to weak kind of setup to play. Let's go to shop. Let's like to start with the weekly time frame. Again, all these charts, sort of similar looking, especially these technology names. You got this sort of bear mini flag right here, and then a breakdown, right? So they're all kind of same, and now we're seeing a little bit of bounce, a little bit of pause to the selling, just like how we saw maybe 2 weeks ago, right? This one similar. Yes, the color is different. This one is bullish. I mean, not bullish, but what I mean is this one is green because the close is above the open price, but still the shape wise is still weak, right? Lower high, lower low. Earnings just around the corner here in a few days. That can change the story, but for now, it is in a deep downtrend, right? again, bullish bars don't see any upside follow through, right? So we'll see what happens, but here's a good setup I see if you want to play a setup based trade, which is basically what it means is we have these two inside days sort of sideways, right? And we got this breakout, right? Because this is a breakout because it closed below the low of these two bars. And now we have a breakout failure, right? Because it did not see any follow through, we got a green bar. So what that means, or what that tells you, is that you gotta go long above the high of this this bullish bar right here, or maybe it's this bearish bar. I can't remember. Let me see. I think that is a setup in the master course, and it's okay. You guys can see it. So this is all good stuff that I've kind of worked on. So which range bound breakout failure. So let's see, what was that? I've gone through examples, how to trade it and all that stuff in detail, but I just want to try to remember what the setup was. God, these are solutions and exercises. Okay, so range bound failure trade, right? But wait, okay, blah blah blah. It's infrastructure rainbow current at the price break out of it and then look for it to fail. Exactly, yes. So the idea is to look for the price for the breakout to fail. So this breakout failed, right? Immediately failed. So now I think aggressive traders can go long above the high of this bullish bar, right? Which is a setup bar, right? As long as 780 is not taken out, because you can target 964, which is the high of this range, right? Or if you're conservative, you can try the long above the high of this bearish bar which was sort of a where it break out the breakout bar. You can try a long above that with the stop loss of, again, the low of this bullish bar. That can be a little bit long in terms of the range, right? But at least it will give you some confirmation that the price is trying to go up, right? But again, you gotta always weigh these things in terms of your position size and things of that nature. Okay, let's look at SPY or SPX. Similar, QQQ, a little better than QQQ because it is above the high, the Monday high, right? So a little bit better, sideways action, long, big range. Let's see what happens early next week. It will be interesting. But in the hourly time frame, that's how it looks like. It has made a higher low so far, but it still needs to get above, I think, this 443, 444 area right here, right? We'll see how it opens, but it sort of can be called an ascending triangle, you can say. Can try to kind of come down, make up another higher low, and then eventually take it towards the high of this channel. Or it can just roll over and then just kind of break the low of this channel that it's trading in, something like this, for a down move. Okay, but right now the way it closed, it looks bullish. Let's see if it gets a follow through to the upside. But 44.8 can be the number that can be sort of a first resistance that you can see on the upside, because it's a channel top and a price resistance. Okay, let's look at last but not the least, NQ. Let's get into the weekly time frame. Similar to QQQ, but with a nice bottom wick and close right below, right at the lows of its previous week, right? So still weak price action, even with that move to the upside. That's how we saw this move 2 weeks ago, right? It just gave up when it opened on Monday, right? I'm not saying it's going to happen, but this is not the only thing that you should consider when trying to play the bullish side. I'm not playing bullish side. Yes, some people can and say, okay, we'll see a nice bullish follow through. I'll play it when I see it, but until then, I'm just more bearish right now, right? But that doesn't mean I will not play bullish trades. What that means is that for me to play bullish, I need to see some more evidence. Okay, I need to see some more evidence in terms of price, these bullish days getting some upside follow through, right? These bullish days are just sort of short coverings, I would say, right? So there is nothing showing that, you know, the trend that has been in the market for the past 3 weeks now, it is reversing, right? So if it wants to reverse, the clues that I'm looking for is definitely, the first one is that let's get above what is that, 1640, right? In the short term, at least 1640, that's like the you know, the swing highs where the price has been getting rejected from. Let's get above that. Let's get above this trend line. Let's get above this bearish flag channel, all that stuff. Only then I'm going to look for some nice aggressive bullish moves to the upside, to target, you know, upper levels right here. Maybe 15,000, 15,200, something like that. But unless or until that does not happen, my preference is to look for rejections. Okay. Again, that doesn't mean you have to do it, but that's just my read on it. Definitely I can be wrong, but if I'm wrong, I have a stop loss. So without stop loss, there is no gain. So always, always, always have a plan, have a stop loss in mind. Okay, never play without it. And try to enter at key levels. Plan your trade, plan your day, what you will be doing. Have a focus. Those things help. Okay. Hope you guys like this little video. If you have any comments, questions, things like that, don't not hesitate to reach out. Hope you guys have a good rest of your weekend, guys. Take care.